So I've read over 75 books in the past 365 days. And I feel like some people think, why would I read books if I could just listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video on the stuff? Fair question. Here's my opinion on that after reading a bunch of books and listening to podcasts. I think that they flex two different muscles. So podcasting has a unique ability to be very available. So you can be driving and learning at the same time, which I think is incredible. I think podcasting is an awesome mode of communication and transferring of ideas, education, whatever you want to call it. I think podcasting is awesome for that. In fact, I have podcasts up on Spotify if you want to watch them. So again, I'm on both sides of the coin here, but I'm just going to differentiate between the two and give the pros and cons of each. So my name's Liam, by the way, if you don't know me. I make videos like this all the time on business, books, fitness, whatever. So the thing about books is it's a complete mental focus. So the difference between a podcast and a book is that to comprehend a book and actually enjoy it, your focus cannot be anywhere else. We've all been in the situation where we're reading a book, but then our mind wanders. Cool, no worries, but we got to bring ourselves back. The act of simply drifting off and bringing yourself back is the development of focus. Whereas I think when you're watching a YouTube video or listening to a podcast, it's not as difficult to remain focused. I think depicting words on a book and trying to consume information that way requires much more focus than sitting here listening to a podcast. Now, do I think that you have to do one or the other? No, I think actually you maximize your learning by doing both. So you can't read a book while you're driving. We all drive sometimes hours per day. And you can really turn your car into a moving classroom and obtain basically a college education in a year's worth of driving by switching from music to podcasts. So I think really these two should be coupled together, but I don't think reading can be replaced. Reading makes it so that yes, you need to focus on one thing, but it's also basically your mental workout. So what happens when we literally do an actual workout? We're putting resistance on our muscles in a range of motion. So to make the connection, when we're reading a book, we're resisting the urge to drift off and coming back to the pages. Also, I think that number 3, reading is basically a form of meditation. So meditation, in a loose definition, is focusing on one thing at a time. That just makes it meditative in nature. So reading is very much meditative. In fact, my morning routine, and I don't have a strict morning routine, but I'm using that terminology. When I wake up, I go straight to the gym, and then I come back, and so I did a physical workout, and then I come back and I have a mental workout via reading books. But what I found is that the morning is when I'm the most creative. So the step-by-step process of going to the gym, coming back, then I drink coffee, which is a cognitive aid, and it's a nootropic. And so my brain is, 1, woken up from the gym, but then 2, my brain gets a mental workout with the book. And so I don't go on my phone in the morning. It's just so nice. It's such a nice chain of events. And so I'll read for 30 minutes to an hour. And I don't read one particular book at once. I read books front to back anymore. I have a bunch of books sitting out on the coffee table. And then whichever one sticks out to me is the one I pick up and read. And even what's more is that I look at the book, and if the page doesn't stick out to me, cool. I flip to a page that does stick out to me. That's just how you develop as a reader. That being said, I think when you start reading, it's good to force yourself to read a book front to back just to prove that it's possible, because it's not that hard. Read 10 to 20 pages a day and you'll finish a book. But the fact that people would say or think to replace reading with podcasts and YouTube, I don't know. I found that across a bunch of different endeavors, it always goes back to the oldest and most simple ways of doing things. So in fitness, it's always the basic movement that are the most effective. It's the squat, the bench, the deadlift. Everyone does those because it's unquestionable that they're some of the most effective movements for a wide range of reasons. And I think podcast is kind of the new addition to education, but you can't get rid of what works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's books. Books are going to be around forever. And I think nothing can replace the mental workout that is reading. And it's such a specific muscle that it flexes. And I think you'd be robbing yourself of, honestly, a lot of personal growth by not reading books and just trying to do something that's a workaround. People will do, oh, well, I listen to audiobooks. Bro, that doesn't make you a reader. You're just listening to a podcast version of a book. It's auditory, not visual. So pick yourself up a book. Don't say, oh, I only do one or the other. Combine the two if your goal is to become more of an intellectual human being. But it's not one or the other. I think books, if I had to choose, I would choose books, 100%. I just enjoy reading more than listening to a podcast. I could read for longer than I could listening to a podcast, and I can get more information out of it. Is this guy wearing a thong, bro? This dude's on a bicycle, and how girls pull their underwear up over their waistband. This dude has the same thing going on a motorcycle, and he just made eye contact with me. Anyhow, that's going to be the end of this. Peace out.